Howdy, welcome back to the channel. Today is part 2, we're redoing my Fire Obsidian Pendant, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Here's the game plan. So this is the old setting that this stone sat in. And this part folded over, it made the bail, had a pretty elegant but yet simple bezel design. And it was an open bezel design, strictly for the purpose of if I ever had to take it apart, which we did, I can easily stick an X-Acto blade in there to help loosen the glue up a little bit and to very carefully pry the stone out, because this stone is not held in with the metal. And I specifically did that because obsidian is fragile and I didn't want to risk the chance of slipping or bumping something wrong and then have the stone break, because then what good is the stone? So this is the old one. This is the new soon-to-be pendant. It is definitely overkill as far as thickness goes. It is much thicker than the old one. Like I said, it's overkill. Even the bezel is overkill. And what I'm going to do is, once I solder this to the plate here, of course we're going to have to shape everything to fit before we solder it. Once we get this to shape, get the desired length we want, make sure the both sides match, I'm going to take the edges here and we're going to have to file them down because this is too thick for the stone. This sits up higher than the stone does. So we're going to grind this down, and then we're going to take the flat edges there and we're going to actually round them so they don't look so like very rigid and straight. And then from there, I'm going to hand sand everything to polish everything up, because I'm not fancy and I don't have all the nice Dremel bits for polishing metal yet, which that's on my wish list to eventually get. So for now, I do mostly everything by hand, aside from the grinder that I'll use to do a lot of the big sanding. But for the time being, let's go ahead and start shaping this so we can get it soldered on. After we solder it, we're going to figure out where all the excess material is going to be, and then get rid of all that. And then we're going to fold this over, and actually I might just do a test run, see how much. Yeah, fold this over, create the bail, and then cut away whatever excess is there. So let's go ahead and get to work. So what we're going to do here, we're going to take this bezel material and we're going to try to get to the rough shape of the stone on the outside. Of course, I can already tell that there's more material than we need, and I don't want a full bezel. I want to have an open-ended bezel like last time. This stuff is pretty soft. I can bend it with my fingers. No big deal. Now the trick is to make sure that everything's straight, because I still have to solder this on, and I can't have a wonky bezel. And I do have the blue tape on this stone to help protect the surface, because I don't want to go through and repolish it. Now, make sure they're at the right angle that I'm going for. Yeah, that'll be good. Do have to sand the edges here so it's not so sharp. Now it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to have to be sanding all this over again. So. You'll be fine. Okay. Okay. This is the part where it requires a lot of patience. I'm just bending this over a little bit at a time. There's not much room for error, but that's okay. I can do this. Forgot the simple rule. Work smarter, not harder. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's better. That's much better. Okay. Might be off a little bit. That's okay. Okay, that part's done. So let's see if we can move one piece here. So I'll have to do some more sanding to kind of pretty that up a little bit, but that's kind of the design I'm going to go for. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up these edges right here on the part I just cut, brown them off a bit, do the same thing down here on the tips, and then I'll solder this together, grind it down, and then from there I'll start grinding everything else down to get a rough shape. Okay. So we have the bezels shaped down to what I think is pretty even. So you got the top there, got the bottom there. The tricky part is making sure that these stay in place when we solder. So I think what I'm going to do, I really don't like this part, because this is the part where it can mess up very easily. So that's the other thing, you gotta make sure that your bezel is pretty flat. This corner here, that's better. Okay, check the other one. Not procrastinating or anything. So one of the first things we have to do, we need to apply flux on here. Now, this is going to help clean the silver to make sure that the solder properly adheres to the surfaces. So yeah, I'm going to have to improvise here. This is always the tricky part. Because we don't have a lot of material to really play with as far as wiggle room. Make sure everything is even. Attach that one. Attach that one. This is where you have to constantly check your work to make sure that everything's even. The last thing you want to do is take everything apart, which I can tell you it's not fun. Okay, that took a lot longer than I had hoped, and now comes the tricky part of removing the stone so we can solder. And we're just going to use an X-Acto blade to again utilize the reason why I did that. Just do it carefully. This is lead-free solder wire. I'm probably going to use more than I need, but that's okay. With this step, I like to have some space in between the ground level and, or at least the workbench and where what I'm soldering. So we're going to put this on my handy hands over here. Because I need a free range of where this solder is going to be, or basically, I need to have control of the flame so I can control where the solder goes. Because what's going to happen is if I have the flame going right here, the solder is going to want to go that way towards the heat. So this is where it's going to get a little tricky. So hopefully I don't catch my phone on fire. Heat up the surface area. Get everything nice and warm. I'm just using a little torch here. Checking my wires, make sure I'm not going to catch my phone charger on fire. Nice and toasty here. Like that. It's pretty dirty, huh? It's okay. Oh, like a glove. Sweet. Now, need to sand down this extra silver, sand this down, and then from there, I'm going to bend this over. The second to last stage is pretty much done. What I do on this stage, I didn't film the whole thing because it's really boring, but I take this little wooden clothespin and I sand it by hand. I start at 400 grit, 400, 600, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000, and then 2500, 3000. And this process takes a little bit of time, and I do this just because I want a better shine when I take it the high-speed buffers, and I'll do that here in a little bit. But I'm going to flip you around here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like before I take the high speed. I'm not going to worry about the inside of here because the stone's going to be inside that, so I'm not going to polish this up. But I'm ready for high-speed buffing. Okay, we're all done with stage 3 of the polishing round. Again, pay no attention to the center here. We're not doing with that one. But we're ready for polish. The last polish anyway. I had to wash off the rouge. That way there's no cross-contamination. What I'm going to do here first, I'm going to use stage 5 on one of these smaller bits here. Just got to find a fresh one so I don't, again, cross-contaminate. And what I have to do, I have to get in these little nooks and crannies, like right up in here. I'd like to try to get right up underneath the bale up here, if I can. Basically, I want to get around all the sharp edges, that way I don't run the risk of it catching on the super high-speed wheel and send this flying, because I spent a lot of time on this already. But we're almost done, and then we can start prepping the stone to get in here. So let's go ahead and get done with this polishing stage. Okay, so we're all done with the high-speed polishing wheel right there for the time being, mainly because I found an issue where those two wheels are contaminated, which means I'm getting these fine scratches where there shouldn't be fine scratches. There should be a nice high gloss polish, and it's not happening. So I need to get new wheels. But that's not going to stop us, because I can still complete this project with not having to really worry about this backside, because no one's going to be looking at this. The sides are okay, the bale's okay, it's just the back. Not a big deal. So the next step of this process is gluing the stone in place. Now most people might just bend the silver to fit the stone in place. I'm not going to do that. I'm a rebel. So, what you're looking at, see how there's kind of an orangish color? That is the silver reflecting back through that layer. So what's happening is the light is passing through that layer, bouncing off the silver backing and coming back through that layer. So what we have to do, we have to color the back of the stone with a permanent marker multiple times to not allow that light through. And because what we want to do, we want to be able to have this main color play be the only color that's coming through and not the silver backing that you see right there. We don't want that. We want those colors right there. Nothing else. So, this part's going to be fun. So we're going to go color a rock. Trust me, there is a method to this madness. Take it back over to the genie. See how much brighter it looks? And you don't have that silver backing reflecting through. Only thing you're getting is that color. So, let's go glue the stone in place. Time for the reveal. So I do have to redo the sterling silver at a later date. However, the pendant is not about the setting, it's about the stone. Because eventually the silver is going to get scratched up anyway, not a big deal. I am very, very happy with how this turned out. There are still a few things I have to clean up, but for the most part, it will do its job. The glue will hold the stone in place, as it should. And I'll get to wear this beautiful gem once more. There's greens, blues, yellows, violets, orange, a little bit of red in between the orange and the purple. But there's just so many colors in this one stone. I'm just so happy with this. What do you think? Okay, that project is done and off the table. I'm just so happy that I can wear my necklace again. It's been way too long, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, minus the few issues with the polishing wheel, but that's okay. I appreciate every single one of you that have watched my videos and have left comments, left likes. I appreciate every single one of you. I would not have kept doing these videos if it wasn't for you. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Rock on.